Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about your central nervous system. Give us an overview of that nervous system so that we can understand as it relates to different experiences that the yogi is having. Why is he having those particular experiences? Specifically, I got another call from another yogi who's using a different system. And what can happen in these other systems, he's having the energy rise through the front of the body, and it feels very sexual, very sensuous. It doesn't feel right to them. It's like, this is supposed to be holy. This is supposed to be sacred. This is supposed to be spiritual. And I'm getting all of these sexual feelings. So let's get into that. Let's get into why that is happening to the yogi so that you can understand why it's working that way and what you can do to counteract that, to make sure the energy is going in the right direction. So let's get into it. So we have in the front of the body, we have the ventral vagal. So it starts in the gut, it comes straight up through the front of the body, into the throat, into the face, all through the very front of the body. That's why it's called the ventral, because it's in the front, the ventral vagal. The vagal comes from the brain and it's branching out, right? So that ventral vagal is that portion which is in the front of the body. It's myelinated. What does that mean? It works really, really, really fast because you're in the front of the body. You got to be active. You got to be aware. It's happening. You have to be happening. Life is happening. It has to be very, very fast. So as soon as you feel something in your gut, bam, it's in your face. As soon as you feel something, bam, you're ready to act on it. It's myelinated for speed, you see? Then all the way on the back, right down your spine, right on top of your spine, so between your heart and all of your organs and your spine is that dorsal vagal. That's that secondary branch coming from the brain going down through the body. That's the yogi's friend, right? I want interiorization. How do I do that? It's right there. It's in the dorsal vagal. You go into it every single night. All you're trying to do is learn how to go into it consciously by awakening this dorsal vagal over and over, right? That's what we're doing in this program, right? So now you've got one vagal component on the front and one vagal component on the back, and then spread out through all the middle is the sympathetic system. And we want that sympathetic system because it's stimulating everything in the body correctly. That's its job, that's why it's there, and it will awaken when we're in trouble and make sure everything works really, really well and really, really fast. So now you see the three main components, right? Ventral vagal, sympathetic, dorsal vagal. And yes, this is a simplification, okay? If you look at pictures of these things, they're very, very complicated. And nobody knows what view should we take of all of this, right? They want to view it from this angle and view it from this angle, and they show one portion of the dorsal vagal and they don't show the other component of the dorsal vagal. When you try to get pictures of this, it's going to be a hodgepodge. But what we need as yogis is just give me the big picture. And that's what I just gave you. Ventral vagal, dorsal vagal, sympathetic in between. And that sympathetic is also going through the dorsal vagal and it's going through the ventral vagal as well. So it takes up all of the residence in between. Very, very important. All of that has to fit together inside of you for you to have a life. Okay, Forrest, why is this important to my meditation? Because some yogis will get into Kundalini yogi, they will get into another system which claims that it is Kriya, which is not the Kriya of Lahiri Mahashaya. Why are they using that name, right? Always makes me wonder. Well, I know there's a very good reason to steal Lahiri Baba's name. But anyhow, people will use these other systems which are very stimulating. And they will tell you in their literature, in their teachings, this is very stimulating for the Kundalini. We are trying to stimulate the Kundalini. And that's not what we're doing in the Kriya Yoga. We want to clear out the way. If I'm on one side of my house and I want to get to the other side of my house and there's a lot of trash in between, well, I'm going to take all that trash and clean it out and clean it out and clean it out. And then when I want to get to the other side of the house, boom, it's so easy because I cleared the way. And that's what we're doing in Kriya Yoga. But in other systems, they're very stimulating. So they say, look, if we stimulate you enough, you will get across the house no matter what. And that's kind of their philosophy. You might be tripping over things, you might be falling over things, you might be falling into things, but man, you're going to make it to the other side of the house. And they just take all of that as normal. And you will have Kundalini type experiences and it will go wrong. And they say, oh, well, that's normal. You're like, really? Was this in the fine print when I signed up? Yes, it was. It's all in their systems and you can read it. So you're doing this stimulating system and you haven't had this magic number. This magic number keeps coming to me. People call me and, you know, people get results right away, right? They do the HRV resonance. They do a little bit of the Om Japa. They get into a little bit of a low idle state and they go, oh my God, I had this great experience. It happens very, very quickly. But something else happens after a year of Om Japa in the chakras. People call me up and they go, oh my God. I'm like, yes, yes. Oh my God, Forrest, Om Japa in the chakras. Oh my God, I've been doing it for 1 year and I'm totally different. My whole life has transformed because of this Om Japa in the chakras. And they keep telling me at about 1 year, I see this really big transformation where they really get it and it's really come a long ways and transformed their lives. Of course, it's already happening before that, but it really crystallizes at about a year. So very magical, right? Long process of cleaning, getting everything out of the way. When you don't have that benefit, then you get this overstimulation and the channel is not clear. And the dorsal vagal especially has not been accessed over and over and over again. And so the stimulation happens. And where does the energy go? It shoots up the front of the body. And when it shoots up the front of the body, this is the ventral vagal. This is, I call it the party complex. Right? This is where we're going to have a party. This is where we're going to hang out with our family. This is where we're going to have movie night. This is where we're going to go out and hang out with our friends. That's all in the front of the body. And it's potentially very, very sensuous. This is where we come out, we greet the world with our sensuality, right? With our eating food and tasting things and enjoying life, enjoying connection with another partner, right? That's all in the front of the body. And so the energy shoots through that and it feels very, very, very sexual and sensuous sometimes. And yogis go, oh my God, this is not the spirituality that I was looking for. What is going on? And I have to live in my life. I can't have this stimulating. And I've had yogis, men, call me up and say, when this happens, I will have a full erection, Forrest. I'm like, yeah, that's normal because it's going through the ventral vagal. That is normal. And you will see old statues of yogis and they will show it with an erection. And you look at that statue, what is going on? They made a statue of this? Yes, because this showed up over and over in other systems. But we don't have those statues in Kriya Yoga because we're getting back to the dorsal vagal and we're cleaning everything out and we're cleaning out the fear with Navi and we're doing the stretching of Mahamudra, and these are your Kriya Yoga insurance policies. And so what happens to the Kriya Yogi is the whole experience deepens. It goes all the way back to the dorsal vagal, and the energy shoots up the spine or crawls up the spine, or sometimes yogis say, well, it feels like smoke going up the spine. And your consciousness, this is the important part, your consciousness goes with it. It takes a ride on the energy, and it also rises. When Yogi told me, I feel so perfect. He said it so perfectly. I feel like my center of gravity has moved to my heart. Yeah, that's it. You have had a roll-up of consciousness into the heart. And when you're in that place, remember some of those old worries. You don't want to fall back down into them, but remember, if you can, remember some of those. When you're in those states over and over again, you feel rolled up. You're like, is this a roll-up? Is this what Forrest is talking about? When you experience that over and over again, remember those old worries that you had maybe an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, maybe yesterday. Can you access them the same way? And you won't be able to, because you've risen up above them. And that's the magic of the roll-up of consciousness. You look at those old words, you go, this is childish. Why was I worrying about this? Why was I involved in this, right? And that's the magic of your consciousness rolling up, rising up into the upper nervous system. And it just transforms you. It's amazing. So the Kriya Yogi is getting back to that dorsal vagal. Instead of the energy rising up the front channel, it's going through the back channel. And what would have been sexual in the front of the body becomes holy in the dorsal vagal. It will feel very, very holy. The same energy that would have shot up the front of the body and felt sexual shoots up the dorsal vagal, and it feels absolutely pure and holy. And that's the magic of the dorsal vagal. So people say, should we be using the ventral vagal or should we be using the dorsal vagal? Well, it becomes holy when it goes up the dorsal vagal. Every single time it will feel very, very holy. So if you are having these energy experiences and the majority of them are in the front of the body, keep oming to the back of the chakra. Keep doing the Om Japa until you get back to the origin of the chakra, which lies on the dorsal vagal. So I felt the heart, right? It's this big doorway. My guru Ashokji, he said, this front of the body, this is the doorway of the chakra. And you want to get back to the spine. That's the origin of the same chakra. So we have a small point on the back all the way into the spine, and then coming out from there, it gets bigger, and you have the doorway of that chakra, right? You want to get all the way back. He said it once. It was a very simple statement, and it is extremely, extremely profound as we unpack that understanding, isn't it? Now, you'll have systems that will say, well, look, we're going to purposely use the front channel because we think it's faster, and then we'll trade it into the back channel. And the problem with that, when you haven't done the cleaning, is that all of your garbage, remember the house was packed with packages and trash and garbage bags, and we didn't clean any of it out. And you're going to bring all of that with you. And so maybe that's not what you want to do to disrupt your life. And so I heartily recommend the Om Japa and the chakras, the Navi Kriya, the Mahamudra. These are your 3 insurance policies which I have given you. Insurance for what? To avoid the pitfalls that every yogic system will encounter, because it's the nature of the beast. It is the nature of what you are dealing with. And so you want those insurance policies. You want to clean things out. And then you'll have this beautiful experience in the dorsal vagal. And you feel, oh my God, I've been touched by something holy. You wake up every morning and you get touched by something holy. And it just transforms your life. It's amazing. So I hope that you love this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.